Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, August 2nd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. A sight we thought we wouldn't see again. Surge tents are back outside of local hospitals, and it comes as county COVID case numbers remain high. Here's a look at how many infections were reported over the past week, with over 1,000 cases reported just today. As KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne shows us, hospitals are preparing for the worst.
A rise in hospitalizations has made Scripps and Sanitas reinstall surge tents outside of their emergency room.
The tents are back up for a couple of reasons. One, today we have 101 patients in-house who have COVID, active COVID. 19 of those are in an intensive care unit right now. We only have 6 ICU beds available in-house and 37 medical surgical beds. So volume is getting bigger.
Dr. Ghazala Sharif is the Chief Medical Officer for Scripps Health. She says the numbers they are seeing now are raising concerns again.
We only had 13 patients at Scripps before the state mandate was lifted, and now we're up to 100. I mean, 13 patients is not very much, and now we're back where we are again.
Dr. Sharif says the growing Delta variant cases are making the need for the tents even more urgent.
For us, it's very sad for me as a chief medical officer to see these tents going back up again when this is all preventable. Had we gotten the vaccines and the herd immunity up, we wouldn't have this Delta variant that's now looming in front of us. And there's going to be more variants that come. So unless we can get that vaccination rate up.
She fears that the longer people delay getting vaccinated, the more COVID variants we will see.
There's more every day. You know, there's one from Lambda variant is coming in. And so these variants are, you know, they are out there. We've had some variants come through before. And so unless we can really get to that herd immunity level where then you just have a handful of cases that are transferred off, we're never going to get out of this.
The surge tents will also help with all the overflow of different medical emergencies.
I think part of that is people had delayed their care, you know, the height of COVID, people coming in for care now. And so our emergency departments are literally busting at the seams, which means that we need to do something. We want to get ahead of this time.
She says the only way to get ahead of Delta and any new variants will be if people get vaccinated and follow safe practices. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
In an effort to curb COVID cases, the Sweetwater Union High School District is launching a rapid test effort after 47 cases were reported. Granger Junior High was on the list today and will be followed by different schools over the next couple of weeks. Officials say the virus is still actively impacting the community and that vaccinations, testing, and mask wearing are the main protections to stop the spread.
We got tested for COVID-19 and we tested negative. People can have COVID and not know it because it might be asymptomatic and spread it.
Of those 47 cases reported last week, both East Lake High and Southwest High saw the largest number of cases with 6 each. East Lake High will have rapid testing done tomorrow. The district says today's testing is being done in partnership with San Diego State and communities fighting COVID. Some encouraging news. There is a rise in vaccination rates nationwide. But even with the increase, the Delta variant is taking its toll with a rise in COVID cases across the country. Here's Daryl Forges.
As the Delta variant spreads like wildfire, COVID cases continue to climb.
Cases have gone up about 4-fold in the last couple of weeks. We're pushing up towards 100,000 cases a day now.
5 states account for nearly half of all new COVID-19 cases reported in the U.S. over the past week, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. Florida is the epicenter of the pandemic, with close to 20% of those new infections averaging more than 15,000 cases per day.
It's absolutely so tragic. Not only have we had the highest number of cases, we've also had the highest amount of hospitalizations that we've had since the 23rd of July last year.
With the increase in cases, some areas are once again either mandating or recommending wearing masks.
If you don't know the people you're around, if you're not sure if they're vaccinated or not, or if you know some are unvaccinated, absolutely crucial to wear a mask.
In a new report, the CDC says 99.9% of those vaccinated have not had a breakthrough case resulting in hospitalization or death. Some cities continuing to apply pressure for people to get vaccinated.
Every new employee must provide proof of vaccination or they cannot start their new job.
But there is a bright spot. The CDC reports the current 7-day average in doses administered is over 662,000 per day, the highest since July 7th. Daryl Forges, KPBS News.
Starting today, California state employees and healthcare workers must show proof of vaccination or get tested regularly. San Diego County, public universities, and some private employers are also mandating vaccinations or testing. The county says retail pharmacies like CVS are now the primary provider of vaccines, administering more than 100,000 doses in July. Dr. Mark Sawyer told KPBS Midday Edition there has been an uptake in the number of locals getting immunized.
Yeah, I've certainly heard stories from people who put it off all this time, and now in the face of needing to go back to masks and threaten our ability to circulate out in the community and go to school and gather in gatherings is motivating some people to finally go out and get vaccinated.
So far, 70% of San Diego County's eligible population has been fully vaccinated, while about 81% have gotten at least one dose. A reminder, everyone age 12 and up may be eligible for a vaccine, and you can find more information on our website, kpbs.org. Just click on the vaccines link right on our homepage. Today was the deadline for San Diego restaurants to bring their outdoor dining areas, known as parklets, up to code. KPBS reporter Melissa May shows us how the rules are being enforced.
Restaurants already had an extension to bring their parklets up to code. Today, the city started going out to restaurants to make sure their structures were in compliance.
The most important reason is for safety. So we want to be able to have those emergency vehicles pull up to a site. We want them to be able to access beyond those into a building.
Leslie Sennett is the Code Enforcement Deputy Director for the City of San Diego. She says the parklets helped restaurants be in compliance with COVID-19 protocols during the pandemic, but many parklets are not up to code.
We need to reach out to the businesses and just make sure we're all on the same page. What are the regulations? What's allowed? How can they operate safely, still provide a very nice space for their customers, but make sure that all requirements, building requirements, fire requirements are being met.
Today, Senate staff was tasked with going out to restaurants who do not currently have a temporary outdoor business operations permit to help them get one. The biggest modification restaurants will have to make starts at the top.
They can't have a permanent roof structure. They need to be using umbrellas.
Also, walls cannot be over 45 inches, and a parklet cannot occupy any red curb space. The Little Italy Association is asking Governor Gavin Newsom for some help with the parklets.
Businesses need to catch up for lost revenues from 2020, particularly the restaurant industry.
Marco Lamandri is the association's chief executive administrator. He says they've asked the governor to let all California restaurants keep permanent roofs on their parklets.
We said the Delta variant is now starting to spread. If people have the option to move indoors and eat or outdoors and eat, they're going to choose outdoors for obvious reasons, according to the CDC.
Newsom's staff responded that this is a local enforcement issue,
which makes zero sense whatsoever. This is a national, international pandemic. The rules should be the same for every city.
If a restaurant does not modify its parklet within 30 days, an administrative hearing would be scheduled and a daily fine of $100 per violation would be imposed. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Today, the San Diego City Council approved Mayor Todd Gloria's $293 million infrastructure plan, including road repairs and park upgrades. The biggest allocation, nearly $98 million for public safety projects, will go toward replacing radio equipment and 34 fire trucks. Nearly half of the funding for transportation upgrades, over $28 million, will pay for road repairs in historically underserved communities. The San Diego City Council also passed a new ordinance that bans the sale of ghost guns. KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel has more on what this means for gun owners.
Yes, that passes 8-1 with Councilmember Kate voting no.
The Enough Ordinance, passed by the San Diego City Council Monday, aims to eliminate non-serialized, untraceable firearms, ghost guns, in the county. The ordinance prohibits the possession, purchase, and sale of non-serialized guns and gun kits in San Diego and online. Councilwoman Marnie Von Wilpert says the recent rise in ghost guns and the tragic gas lamp shooting in April that killed one person and injured 3 others pushed her to move the ordinance forward.
If anyone wants to purchase a lower receiver or unfinished frame, it will be required to be serialized and traceable just like any other firearm in the stream of commerce.
The San Diego Police Department has sounded the alarm on these guns, citing a 169% increase of ghost guns being found at crime scenes. According to SDPD, the majority of these untraceable guns are found in the hands of felons, drug dealers, and people prohibited from purchasing a gun. This is why Councilmember Chris Cate voted no on the ordinance in a standalone vote.
Councilmember Cate.
No.
He says the new law would not prohibit criminals from continuing to break the law. In California, owning an unserialized firearm is already illegal.
It is completely unreasonable to believe they will follow this new law. This law does nothing to prevent mass shootings. This law does nothing to hold criminals accountable. This law does nothing to make us safer.
However, gun violence advocates like Stephen Abrams hope this new law will prevent more deaths.
I've lost friends to gun violence, and I see and I've hugged too many mothers who've lost their sons to gun violence.
Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
The USS Carl Vinson left San Diego today. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says the aircraft carrier departed just as the Navy is beginning to see more cases of COVID-19.
The Vinson left San Diego for Hawaii Monday. The 5,000 sailors said their goodbyes to families in stages instead of the mass gatherings of years past. COVID continues to have an impact as the Delta variant becomes more prevalent. Rear Admiral Daniel Martin says 99% of the crew is vaccinated.
99%. So, but we've let everybody out in town, right? So when they come back, we're just going to mask up for 14 days and make sure that we get inside a bubble once again, and then we'll be completely safe. Yeah.
Captain P. Scott Miller says they have had cases on board the carrier, including people who were vaccinated.
What we've seen on our ship is that the symptoms are very minor, if you will. It's almost like a common cold, is what we've witnessed so far. So none of the few people that we've had who've got the COVID who are vaccinated have become very ill at all.
The Biden administration has urged the Pentagon to find out what steps need to be taken to require the vaccine. Right now it's optional. The Pentagon says roughly half the force is fully vaccinated. The Navy has the highest vaccination rate. One incentive for sailors is that they avoid 2 weeks of quarantine before deploying if they receive the vaccine. The Vinson is scheduled to tour the Western Pacific. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
The first group of Afghan interpreters and other allies who helped the U.S. during America's longest war have arrived. But thousands more and their families are waiting to finally be out of the harmful reach of the Taliban. Kylie Atwood follows the harrowing journey.
If I don't go out of Afghanistan, I am counting down my end of life.
Every day that the Taliban control surges in Afghanistan, the situation grows more deadly for Afghan interpreters who are trying to flee the country after working alongside U.S. troops and diplomats. 3 interpreters who have applied for special immigrant visas to the United States, or SIVs, spoke to CNN and described just how urgently they must get out of the country. Because after years of putting their lives on the line next to U.S. soldiers, the Taliban are hunting them down.
Absolutely, we need to get out of the country. They are looking after us.
Our future will be dark. They're gonna cut our heads too.
He's referring to a recent report of the Taliban beheading Afghans who worked alongside U.S. troops. These Afghans fear for their families as well as themselves. CNN is concealing their identities to keep them safe. One of them, Nayab, is particularly concerned about what will happen to his daughters if the Taliban take over.
They will destroy the schools and they prevent the girls to go to school.
All three men we spoke with have faced terrifying threats. One of them, Ramesh, explained what happened to him earlier this month when the Taliban knocked on his door.
My family hid me and told them Ramesh was gone somewhere. Then they searched our house and I was hid inside the oven in my yard. They burned my house and nothing remained to us. All our materials burned by them.
They burned your house?
Yeah, they burned my house.
After that, Ramesh snuck out of his hometown in the middle of the night, embarking on a dangerous journey to Kabul, where the Taliban are not in control. Army Captain Sayer Payne worked with Ramesh in Afghanistan and encouraged him to flee to Kabul under the cloak of darkness.
To me, it's the comrade in arms and an indelible duty to not betray them. You put these people on a tier as you would your own family.
Payne says the United States could not have done the job on the ground without the interpreters by their side. He feels angry thinking about the ones who may not make it out.
To allow and fully know all of these people signing up for this promise to come literally to the promised land and to just let it go is a betrayal to those people.
About 20,000 Afghans have applied for SIVs. 700 of them will fly into the United States in the coming weeks and wait at a U.S. military base while their visas are finalized. Yet the total processing time can take years. President Biden has promised,
"We will stand with you just as you stood with us."
But the United States government has not yet laid out a comprehensive plan to get these Afghans out of the country before the complete U.S. troop withdrawal next month. Due to the urgent and vast nature of this challenge, many individuals like Payne have taken it upon themselves to contribute. Janice Shinwari, a former Afghan interpreter living in Virginia, stood up a nonprofit to help SIVs based on his own experience.
When I came here at the airport, I realized that government is not taking care of us, and I was by my own. And from that time, I thought that I have to build something to help these SIVs when they're coming to the United States and they don't know anybody.
Earlier this month, he waited at the airport to welcome an Afghan SIV recipient and his family to the United States. Janice's nonprofit paid for their flights. It's an emotional and hopeful scene, but a glance at his phone offers a reality check. Hundreds of messages, all Afghans pleading with him to help them get out.
It is the start of the month and the rent is due. Federal eviction protections have expired and now millions of Americans potentially face homelessness. Isabel Rosales has more.
The United States may be barreling toward its next crisis, housing.
Where am I going to live in the next 2 months?
The CDC's federal eviction moratorium, designed to help stop the spread of COVID-19, has expired. An estimated 11 million Americans are late on rent. Already struggling to pay the bills, they may soon be out of a home. Black and Latino tenants are disproportionately impacted.
How are you going to pay your electricity, cell phone, food? It's hard.
The Supreme Court had allowed the moratorium stay in place until July 31st, but Congress would need to act. Democrats scrambled to pass an extension before the August recess.
When it comes, though, to the technicalities of legislation, we just needed more time.
Their bill failed after Republicans rejected it.
Democrats had the opportunity to change that. They didn't. This level of incompetence that we didn't take action in February, March, April, May, June, even July.
A lawmaker who said she herself had been evicted 3 times and forced to live in her car, sleeping on the Capitol steps in protest.
I'm dirty, I'm sticky, I'm sweaty. This is how people will have to live if we don't do something.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez blasting her own party for ignoring the looming deadline.
We cannot, in good faith, blame the Republican Party when House Democrats have a majority.
Some Democrats are now shifting their focus on getting existing federal money into the hands of those who need it most. In Washington, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
California's eviction protections last through the end of September, and help is available to people struggling to pay rent and utilities because of the pandemic. You can find out more about the eligibility requirements and apply at the websites that you see on your screen. The cities of San Diego and Chula Vista have set up their own emergency rental assistance programs for residents. Everyone else can apply through San Diego County's program.
We are looking at that monsoonal moisture moving east, so say goodbye to some of the rain chances that we've seen off and on throughout the mountains. That's going to get shut off as high pressure builds in over us. Also, limited marine layer as we've gone through some of the weekend here into the work week, but that'll come back for us later on. However, we will be turning up the heat for other locations, which is why there's heat advisories, excessive heat warning, or excessive heat watches, I should say, already in place, getting set for the middle of the week. I think Wednesday's really going to be some of the peak of the heat as we head through time here. So enjoy the numbers while we can. We're in the low or mid 60s, I should say, tonight in San Diego, 66 that low, 59 as you head towards Oceanside, and Mount Laguna coming in at 71, while Campo near 66. Futurecast shows not much happening. In fact, that marine layer doesn't even really reestablish itself heading through tonight into tomorrow morning. So it is going to be a very quiet, largely clear night out there. High pressure still establishing itself tomorrow. And as that strengthens, the upper level high, it unfortunately shuts off that monsoonal moisture. It's going to shove it off towards the east. Colorado and New Mexico getting their chances for showers and thunderstorms, but the rest of us largely missing out, which is why a pretty quiet day, 79 for the high in San Diego, lots of sunshine out there. And again, the marine layer clouds, they'll be hard to find, so we do have some here, but not a lot. Chula Vista near 80 degrees, Borrego Springs 115 for that high. As we move through time, though, Wednesday, again, more heat coming back for us as this high pressure system really establishes itself for a brief change up the thunderstorms off towards the east. Coastal communities, temperatures in the 80s or mid 70s. That's what we'll head to as we go through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Heading into the weekend, inland communities closer to 90 degrees, I think, for Wednesday and Thursday, the middle of the week, and trying to cool off a bit heading into next week as another trough comes into the northwest. Mountain communities, 70s, mid 70s for the later part of the week with sunshine out there and a couple of clouds. Again, no chances of rain. That's going to be true in the deserts where we head to the 115 range for the next few days, cooling off later this week. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Melissa Constanzer.
Some of the nation's biggest retailers are updating their mask policies in light of new guidance from the CDC. It's now recommending that both vaccinated and unvaccinated people wear masks in public, indoor spaces, and in areas where there is substantial or high transmission of the coronavirus. Stores such as Target, Walmart, and Home Depot are requiring workers to wear face coverings and highly recommend that all guests wear them, especially due to the Delta variant and where cases are high. Nevada's mask mandate is now in effect as the number of Delta variant COVID-19 cases continue to climb. Governor Steve Sisolak's executive order applies to everyone, whether they've been vaccinated or not. As Ross DeMate reports, it appears that Sin City visitors are responding by masking up.
Among the thousands of tourists on the Las Vegas Strip, it seems most got the memo about the new mask mandate.
We just wear it indoors and around people as much as we can because we're still in a pandemic and we're fully vaccinated. Yes.
I guess we're going back again, but we wanted to keep Vegas open, and this is what really concerned our local, to continue and not to be unemployment again.
The new signage helps spread the message. I found similar signs posted inside Treasure Island and the Venetian, reminding guests masks are once again required, regardless of vaccination status.
We gotta protect ourselves. I'm fine with it. If you gotta wear it inside, that's fine. Outside, not so much. But inside, when it's so many people, put a mask on.
It doesn't bother me to wear the mask. I mean, as far as for myself with our family, having a daughter, it's that's all I care about, to make sure that we're safe on that end of it.
Most guests I saw were happy to comply, but there were some who were slower to the party. In those cases, I personally didn't see any security or employees enforcing the new mask mandate, but others did.
I have been seeing them enforce it in the casinos. I've been seeing security walk around telling them, put your mask on, put your mask on. So it does. I have mine on. The dealers, everyone else we're around have it on. But then when you eating and drinking, you don't have it on. So it's kind of like a give and take.
Of all the tourists I talked to, everyone understood the need to bring back the mask policy to slow the spread of the Delta variant. And they're glad Nevada is no longer leaving the public's health in the public's hands.
I'm really kind of glad that they are, in a sense, just because, you know, there are a lot of people that don't want to get vaccinated, which, and I guess it's their choice, but the least they can do is wear a mask in that case, you know, just make sure everybody's safe.
For you guys, are you glad that everyone else who's maybe not vaccinated has to wear the mask?
Yes, 1,000%, yes.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, an uncertain future. Millions of renters face housing instability after eviction protections expire. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Another San Diegan is bringing back an Olympic medal. This time, it's golfer Xander Schauffele. He won the gold in the men's golf tournament, beating Rory Sabatini by 1 stroke. Schauffele is a Scripps Ranch High grad and attended San Diego State. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. And before we go tonight, we want to take a moment to wish our longtime director, Don Johnson, a very happy retirement. DJ, you will be missed by all of us at KPBS. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.